What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this video. But I just want to say, I'm watching Canelo Alvarez. I'm listening to, he's in an interview, and I'm listening to him talk. And once again, he says he'll fight anybody. He don't duck anybody. He want to fight nothing but the top guys. That's all he's done is fought the top guy. No, you fought some top guys, but there's champions that was better than the champions that you beat. Okay, so there are several guys, but even with Canelo's resume, and okay, he's been around for a long time. And look, when he chose to fight Charlo, a guy coming all the way up from 154. Well, Canelo came from 154, yeah. One weight class at a time, the smart way. It's on Jamel for jumping up. But we saw how that went. The point is he didn't have to fight Jamel. David Morrell is already there. David Benavides is already there. So he didn't have to even fight Jamel, but he did. No problem. So now the talk is about him fighting against Jamal Charlo. I told you guys after he beat Jamel, there's no guarantee that he's going to fight Benavides. And I doubt very seriously that he is. And look at what's happening. So, for David Benavides, him and Morrell, I'm looking at it like one of these guys need to try to eliminate the other to put Canelo in a position of, okay, now what? What weight class are you going to pick? Choose to pick on somebody now. Which junior welterweight, which welterweight, junior middleweight, who you going to call up now? Right? I'm already here. Why pick somebody else when I'm here already? Right? Okay. Now, here's the thing. For Canelo, Jamal is fighting at 160. His last fight, he came in at 163. And I felt like he did that shit on purpose. That's why he wasn't stressing about it. He went in there, he won the fight, whooped this dude's ass pretty solidly from the first to the last round. Okay, and I feel like that was on purpose. He just paid the fine. He didn't make no noise about it. Okay, he couldn't make any noise about it, But bottom line, he just, I feel like he did that on purpose. Now, to come in and gain this little bit of weight gradually, because it's not a lot of weight, but to come in and gain this weight gradually, to fight at that weight, that's what I think that was about. Now, again, there's no need for him to even fight Jamal Charlo. I mean, he already has, again, Morrell and Benavides right there. But, of course, that's the fight that he's trying to get. That's supposed to be happening, right? If this fight, let's just say he beats Jamal, it does make you think, well, now, who's next now? Who's next now? Because at some point, you're going to have to fight Morrell. You're going to have to fight Benavides. I believe if one of them eliminate the other, it puts him in a position of, okay, I already gave the Mexican excuse for not fighting Benavides. Right? Let's say Morrell beats Benavides. Does he finally fight Morrell? Or does he rematch Caleb Plant? Like, what does he do? Does he just take another route at 168? I don't understand how you have mandatories and you're not being stripped for not fighting these guys. But see, this is the power of that bullshit invisible belt. You got to think, like, how's a guy holding on to all these belts You don't ever hear people making a big thing about him fighting mandatories, like making it he's in jeopardy of being stripped. So you look at that, you know the Bevel fight is not going to happen. Bevel, I read something that Bevel said. Actually, it was an interview, and I actually read what he said on the boxing scene. Bevel said he's good. I already beat Canelo. Canelo doesn't want to fight me. I can get down to 168, but he doesn't want to fight. No, he doesn't want to fight. Remember the guy that he fought? And Canelo said that if Bevel loses, that he's not going to fight him. Bevel won. He still won't fight him. Mauricio Suleiman comes to his aid. He opens his mouth about it. Why? Oh, with the war going on and him being Russian and, any excuse that you can come up with just to keep that fight from happening. And that's pretty much what you see. So, Bevel's off the table. Like, that's a fight that's not happening. You see the point, what I'm saying? I believe Bevel beats Benavides. I believe Bevel beats Charlo. I believe he beats Canelo at 168 as well. If Canelo wanted that fight, it could happen. And even if Mauricio didn't want to sanction it because with the WBC being online, then it just wouldn't be for undisputed then, simply because that belt wouldn't be there. But it could be for unified. You think that, like Canelo, people say that Canelo always says out of his own mouth, I fight who I want. He always says that. Okay. So there's a reason why the second fight with Bevel hasn't happened, and it's not because of Bevel. There's a reason why he hasn't fought Benavides or Morrell. And then when you turn around and say, these guys done nothing. I mean, only fight one champion. He done nothing. Well, okay, who's left? Now, Demetrius Andre, Benavides took care of him. So do we want to see him versus Andre? No. No. He got rid of him. So who's left? Other than the guys that I just named, that people really want to see him fight. I think that what people are missing with the point that people are missing with these fights is that you can pick and choose. You can wait it out. Time is something you can't get back. So what's going to end up happening? Let's just say, for example, whatever the first fight card will be, which I'm not sure of when or who's on it on Amazon Prime with the PBC, right? Let's say if Canelo headlines that. I don't know who the opponent, Jamal Charlo. But I'm saying, let's say after that fight, you always want to know what's next, right? But let's say after that fight, when you narrow down what I just said and look at who's left, you don't have to worry about Canelo going and fighting Saudi. That's not happening. Let's just say, though, if the Saudis could get Benavides on the card against Morrell, let's just say they can get Bevel and Beterbiev, which has no effect on Canelo because, they're at 175. But what I'm saying, what if Canelo would be in a position where the winner between Bevel, Benavides and Morrell, he'd be in a position where he already gave, and let's just say, for example, let's go with David Benavides. Let's just say He already said Benavides has done nothing, but this was after he made the Mexican excuse about, because they're Mexican, he don't want to fight other Mexicans because he represents Mexico. That excuse will always stand. He'll be fine with his position with the PBC, fighting whoever he wants, whenever he wants. If Morrell won, he's going to say? He done nothing. He only beat one champion. And he never beat nobody. It's going to be the same thing. Which means he's going to pull a Tank Davis and just sit up and just fight guys who, even if they have a belt, it means nothing. And at 168, he has everything, right? So every other champion, Terrence Crawford, stripped. Jamel Charlo, stripped. You understand what I mean? All these other guys stripped. Canelo, never. Never. So my question is, if he was to lose to Jamal Charlo, of course there'd be a rematch clause. But let's say Jamal beat him twice. All right? Jamal really has no reason to focus on going back to 160 at that point. Then he'd be able to finally fight Benavides, something that Canelo refused to do. Will Canelo retire, or will he start now calling out guys' names who he purposely avoided? Now, on top of that, with no belts, you just might see another Caleb Plant rematch. Or maybe because, depending on how bad, if Morrell was to lose to Benavides, if he looked like crap, maybe, okay, I can fight him now. Or vice versa, if it was Benavides that lost. Because it gets to a point, what I see with fighters, and the fans don't want to admit this, but it gets to a point where you get in a comfort zone and you get used to fighting certain level of competition, but you're still making big money in the process. These fighters become very complacent, and they don't like to be told that, hey, we really want this fight with this person if that's not what they want. And they may go in there after taking that fight and wind up losing and looking bad. And right now for Canelo, he's been sitting on in that position for the longest. I think a lot of people are getting, aside from his actual fans, people are getting bored with Canelo because it's just the same thing over and over. So see what happens between him and Jamal Charlo. But this is my thing, is he has no reason to skip over Benavides or Morrell to fight Jamal Charlo or anybody else that's not at 168. That's why I said, if he got rid of one of them or both of them, bottom line, just, right? Then he can say, I beat everybody at 168. Then it's like, well, what's the next big fight? Because what people don't understand, they overlook this fact. You're putting wear and tear on your body through all of this training. So now you're going to go in there and fight against just who? You can underestimate someone and go in there and take a beating, even if you win, when you could have been fighting someone that was worth, the people's money, worth people's time. I don't think that most of these people really understand that. In terms of longevity in boxing, and you see these guys, he's at a point he can fight whoever he wants because now he's the only fighter in boxing that you hear him say that shit about. And regardless, what does that mean? Because of what you've done, that means you don't have to do anything else but just hold titles hostage. And I'm saying, with what he's done is what he's done. But what are you doing now? People keep asking that question. Every time he fights somebody, the question about him fighting Benavides more than any other fighter. Because none of these other guys are in his division with the exception of Morrell. And because of what was said about him and Bevo doing it again. But that's not happening. It's not happening. And we know he doesn't want to go to 175. So he's in a position of just He's fighting who he wants to fight. But what's going to end up happening if he doesn't fight Benavides? I think it's going to take, which I don't see that happening. But I think it's going to take for his actual fans to get tired of him and stop supporting what he's doing. For him to come to the conclusion, and his team to come to the conclusion, we need to get this Benavides fight. We need to fight Morrell. And then people say dumb things. Oh, he's supposed to fight everybody. That's what elite level fighters do. What's so elite about you if you're fighting the mediocre competition? What's so elite about you if you can't fight the top guys in your own division and you got to call, top guys from small weight classes to come up to fight you? What's so elite about you then, right? So you got to look at it and understand. And these guys, 32, 33, 34, these guys are like already, if you're planning on fighting another 4 or 5 years in the sport, why would you wait until you get older? Why not do these things now? And yeah, I always felt like that. That's anybody. When you're elite, you're elite. Fight the top guys there. Fight the top guys there. And the thing is, like, there's not a lot of people to choose from. At 168, come on, Morrell and Benavides. Then it's just other people. There's guys there, but there's no real value to their name. So this is my point. Why are we waiting? So we'll see what happens after this Charlo fight. But at the end of the day, if he wins the fight, that's what most people are going to say. Oh, I knew he was going to win. Jamal couldn't listen. Okay, well then if it was that easy of a win, right, why even take that fight? If it's about pushing yourself and fighting guys who you know can push you, that's my whole point. Then Benavides has been there. And the whole thing is, he might beat Benavides. But when you don't want to fight somebody and then you have to wind up fighting them, a lot of times you won't, because you're doing something you really didn't want to have to do. And then that person shows up and they're way better than what you gave them credit for, and you can't take it to that next level. And then you find yourself sitting at the post conference saying, I'm sure I can beat him in a rematch. I'm just saying, y'all, here we go again, another Canelo fight, but it's not with Benavides. It's not with David Morrell. There's no reason to have to call out smaller guys. It's just not. To be honest with you, we always, like, for me, Jamal was closer in size to Canelo, fighting, 6 pounds up from 154 and 8 pounds down from 168. But he have 2 people in his division right now that people want to see him fight. That if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if I was in the position of David Morrell and Benavides, man, I'd be trying to get on like a Saudi card so I can get that money, because you got to understand, like they always say, right? You get what you paid, what you get in your last fight. They'll get paid more than what they're going to get in the States. And therefore, their bargaining chips is better even in that sense. And the fact is that these pay-per-views are super affordable, and you're on the card with, other top fighters, and people are still talking about their reckoning right now. They're still talking about it. As opposed to the States, what do you normally get? One main event and a crappy card. Okay? Decent card. And even like the thing is, even like, for example, I like the cards that Matchroom put on, because they put solid cards on. The thing about watching Matchroom fights over here in the States is I can be the only one in the room that know who the hell these people are, depending on where I'm at. If I'm watching at home, it's different, but, and the thing is, it's not like these people are not good fighters, but people don't really care for something when they don't know who is who, right? So these fights happening and over here, people don't really know about it. They don't really care. They probably see highlights and that's it. That being said, if you're fighting over there on these Saudi cards, your stock in boxing is going to go up. Your recognition is going to go up. Like I said, look at Frank Sanchez. I see what was it that Devin Haney undercard he fought on, and the building was empty. Now he just fought on a Saudi card, and people got to really see him. You understand what I mean? And even when people do replays, if you watch a replay, even if it's a highlight reel of the fight, you got certain fighters 6 to 9 months later, their video might have 14,000 views. 6 to 9 months later. Top fighters that are well known, they got, that many views in a couple of hours. You understand what I mean? So those are the guys, when you look, those are 130-something thousand views for highlights. So you can even look at who's popular and who's not just based on that alone. So just saying. And for somebody like Canelo, you think he'd want to be a part of a card? Look, here's my thing, and I'm gonna say this. They got this deal with Amazon Prime. They need to do what the Saudis are doing. Nothing but top level fights. And I feel like that's what the pay-per-view should be. That's what the pay-per-view should be. But we'll see how things go. Tell me what y'all think about Canelo and Charlo. How y'all think that fight go? And what do you think's next for both? And especially Canelo in this situation, because pretty much he's the heavy favorite. You never know. It can go different. But tell me what y'all think about this situation. Do y'all think Canelo and Benavides is ever going to fight? Do you think Canelo is ever going to fight Morrell? Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.